Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins, presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. I'm your host. So, can't wait to talk a little bit about girls spring sports. As you guys know, we are in pretty much the home stretch of spring sports, right? We got lacrosse playoffs kicking off today. Also, baseball kicks off this upcoming week. Soccer is already in the midst of it. I think they are in the Sweet 16, if not the Elite 8. So we are in pretty much the home stretch of the season, which is kind of crazy to say, crazy to think about. It has flown by so fast. I think the last couple of weeks of school as well. So, but yeah, today we're going to talk about golf. We got obviously track and field. We'll get into a little bit of basketball. And we'll also talk a little bit about lacrosse, some top matches to watch for. And you guys also can go look at the recent article I dropped on the top contenders, in my opinion, on the girls' side, of who I think is going to be the creme de la creme, and also some sleepers as well. So I might reveal the sleepers a little bit later, but go to scorechill.com, get the latest on that as well. But we're going to kick it off with some golf. Start with Dawson County girls. They captured the Lady Warrior title over the weekend, ran away with it at the University of Georgia Golf Course in Athens. They shot at 256 to beat North Hall 270 and Hart County at 278. Tiger scored a 78 from medalist Samantha DeWint and an 80 from runner-up Pearl Hughes as well, with Kennedy Horde adding 98 score. Emma Shiflett of Hart County was third with 85, and Lucy Johnson of Elbert County. And then Maddie Kate Hall of White County and Morgan Whitten of North Hall tied for fourth place with 89 scores theirs as well. Also on the golf side, you had the girls of Riverwood. They advanced to the state sectionals based off of their time. So they finished among the top 4 teams in the area tournament today to advance to GHSA state sectionals. Elena Sims, Tiffany Burton, and Avery Nagley helped lead the Raiders to a tie for third place with North Atlanta, with Claire Bush and Emily Eigel completing a strong varsity squad in the Mirror Lake Golf Club in Villa Rica. While Riverwood has advanced individual players to the GHSA Girls Golf State Sectionals in the past, this is the first time in well over a decade that we've seen the entire team advance together. So special shout out to them. The area tournament is scheduled for May 6th at Bentwater Golf Club in Ackworth. So special shout out to them for continuing to advance. That is what I got on the golf news. On the girls' side, that is the latest there as well. And then also we talked about kind of her performance. Elena Sims, she won her Division 15U at the GSGA Junior Tour held at Sugar Creek Golf Course. That was a couple of days ago. Looks like April 19th. She had 3 birdies along with pars, contributing to her score of 84. So shout out to her for her impressive performance this past week as well. All right, so we'll keep it rolling. We'll advance next to track and field. So you guys know I love this part of the segment, just talking about the top scores. I feel like every week we're updating who has the best scores in the state. So we'll start. Looks like this past week, looks like Samota Igawilil from Walton High School. She had the fastest time so far in the state with 11.38 time. She did that at GHSA 7A Region 5. As you guys know, the region kicked off, region championships kicked off this week, and then obviously you gotta have sectionals as well. So she had a great time there. And then Caroline Hood, she's been on this list a lot. She had a 10:25.78 time in the 3200 meter at the at the Carolina Distance Carnival. So special shout out to her. She had another fast time. I don't think she was attached. I think she was just competing in that herself. And then it looks like, I'm trying to see if there's another major score. And in the 4x100 relay, you had Cross Creek with the new fastest time, 41:26. They set this on April 20th in the Border Brawl relays. So they set a new fastest time with 41:26 there as well. So special shout out to them. So that's the latest times. That's what's been going on the track side. As you guys know, regionals and then sectionals is coming up this weekend. And then speaking of that, shout out to Kings Ridge. Sophia Osea, she set a new record in track and field. She finished with a 1:02 time in the 400 meter and set a new school record and will compete, as I said, in sectionals this upcoming Saturday. So special shout out to her on her accomplishment and being able to set the new record in track and field for her school. Special honor. Let's see, actually. I think there was an update. One sec, guys. Okay, no, I didn't see anything. I've seen if any other track updates. So that's what I got far as track as well. That's the latest what I've seen around the state. We'll keep it rolling. We'll talk a little bit about soccer. So obviously I have to start off the soccer segment giving a special shout out to Marley Raymond, what she's been accomplishing in her career. As you guys know, the U.S. soccer youth national team, they ended up defeating Paraguay 4-2 in PKs after a 0-0 draw. She was out there competing with the team from April, I think it was 7 to the 21st. So she's been doing her thing, and they ended up winning the UFA Friendship Tournament in Turkey. So special shout out to her for competing at the highest level and continuing to be obviously one of the best here in the country. So special shout out to Marley for what she's been able to accomplish on the soccer field. We'll continue to follow her journey. If I see any news, definitely we'll talk about it. But we have some region honors that came out this past week. The Buford girls earned 3 of the top 4 awards in all Region 8. 7A soccer teams voted on by the league's coaches. The Wolves recognized were Sophia Martelli as Forward of the Year, Abby Clement as Midfielder of the Year, Alina Pope as Goalkeeper of the Year. Excuse me, the only girls honor not won by the region champion Wolves was to Mill Creek's Becca Grayson, who was Defender of the Year. And then here's the first team on the girls' side. It was forwards Ebony Torres from Buford, Jessie Finland, and Ella Vasquez of Mill Creek. Midfielders was Sabri Vargas of Buford, Kaylee Mallory of Mill Creek, Aaliyah Muhammad of Decula, Isabel Ramirez of Collins Hill, and then defenders, Kylie Brand of Collins Hill, Yazzie Vargas of Buford, Taylor Fegley of Mountain View, Katie Larson of Decula, and the goalkeeper was Issa Ferry of Mill Creek. And then second team forwards was Nandy Carpenter, Mountain View, Anissa Whitaker of Collins Hill, and then Betsy Venegas of Decula. Midfielders was London Crawford, Mill Creek, Brianna Gonzalez of Mountain View, Addison Noss of Mountain View, Aslan Downey of Collins Hill. Defenders, Antonella Medina Alvarez of Mountain View, Alex Gees of Collins Hill, Jessica De Leon Benegas of Central Gwinnett, and then the goalkeepers were Rihanna Gutierrez of Decula, Emily Gurman of Mountain View. So that is the honors there. And then also we had some more honors as well in a different region. Let's see. I want to make sure I get this right with the region. Okay, so this is going to be for Region 4, 7A honors. So Brookwood's girls program was represented by Peyton Rhodes as goalkeeper of the year, Hayden Barnett of midfielder of the year, and the Broncos' Michael Tomich was girls coach of the year for their performance this season. Archers Isabel Gonzalez, defender of the year, and South Gwinnett's Lauren Ward was forward of the year. They earned the top honors for the girls also as well. So the first team was Anna for forwards, Anna Brizionis of Parkview. Midfielders, Maddie Allen of Brookwood, Amaya Jackson of Brookwood, Alice Gibb of Parkview. Defenders, Amani Okolala of Brookwood, Jenna Boyce of Brookwood, and Ava Pearson of Brookwood. The second team honors was forward Libby Hutzel of Archer, Sydney Steele of Parkview. Midfielders, Skylar Shorter of Brookwood, Emily Perry of Archer, Addison of Brookwood, Emily Sanchez Rodriguez of South Gwinnett, and then defenders, Emmy Heathcock of Brookwood, Brooke Sars of Parkview, Amaya Blackwell of Parkview, and then Zanaya Johnson of South Gwinnett. So those are the latest honors on the soccer realm as well, and who obviously stood out there. All right, so let's keep it rolling. All right, so we'll hit a little bit on we can hit on a little bit of hoops. I think hoops has some interesting things we can talk about real quick for the first break. All right, so hoops, as you guys know, MaxPreps announced all their All-American teams, had an article on it. You guys can go look at that, but we didn't discuss them on the show, so we'll look at the freshman team and obviously the sophomore All-American team, so just some of the best players obviously here in the country as well. So let's take a look. All right, so Georgia players that made it. Let's see. Man. Trying to see. Okay, so had a obviously had Kate Harpring. She was named an honorable mention on this list. Obviously, she had a great season. I think she's gonna put more people on notice of her game and what she can do. And she was spectacular this year. She won a state championship, as you guys all know, defeating a really, really good team in North Forsyth. She averaged 27.8 points, 8.3 rebounds, 4.7 steals, and 4.3 assists. Shot 58% from the field. Finished the season with 1,500 career points, the fastest in school history to reach that milestone. So, we talked about her a little bit in the playoff run and what she was able to do. Obviously, she's a great game. She can score on all three levels. She's good in the mid-range, good at finishing through contact around the rim, and also can stretch the defense out as well. And a lot of Maris' offense runs predominantly through her. And there was a stretch in that game I remember against North Forsyth. She just went off for I think it was about 7 to 10 points, right? And the defense didn't have an answer. She was just getting to her spots on the floor, finishing through contact, getting fouled, getting and ones. And what makes her game so special is just very polished at a young age, right? As you said, 1,500 points already this short in her career, right? So that says a lot of, what she can do. And then we also talked about 58% shooting from the field. So she's also efficient. She's not taking bad shots. A lot of times you see players, they'll have these astronomical numbers in basketball, but not great efficiency. She's also a very efficient scorer as well. So I think she's only, scratching the surface of her game of what she can be in and eventually become. And, obviously now she already has a pretty good resume, right? You already passed 1,000 career points. I think she'll easily get to 2,000 in her career. And she also has a state title as well. And you add that with a really good head coach and Coach Hickson. And I remember talking to her when she first came in, and she said she was impressed with her as a freshman. And then now, the next year, you win the state championship. Says a lot to what she's done for their program and also how good Kate is as well. So, obviously her brother is Luke. Obviously goes to Marist as well. We're going on to Georgia Tech. But I think she's going to be an interesting prospect to watch. Already has great, D1 offers, Texas, North Carolina. Pretty much any school she wants to go to, she could go to. So she's going to be an interesting player to continue to watch. She made this honorable mention list. I think next year she'll be on this list as an All-American. That's just how good she is. And I think she's going to put a lot of people on notice. And the other player that made the honorable mentions for sophomores was Isabel Ragon of Mill Creek. She put up 20.2 points, 9.7 boards, and 2 steals per night to help the Hawks. And they won 18 games this past season. Can't wait to see the kind of steps she takes forward as well in her career. She's 6'2", wing, young, also can stretch the defense, can be a predominant scorer, can give her the ball and let her go to work. So can't wait to see what she does in her career. But I thought this was a great honor for her being so young to be able to make this list. And, going into next season, obviously now you guys know it's spring. It's spring going into summer. It's AAU time, right? Up until about June is when, they go back and they're starting to practice again. And then, they're getting kind of into the fold of the team, fall camp, stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of her name, how it continues to kind of float around. One thing I will say, too, before we go on to the freshman list, if there's any players that subscribe, watch the show, Girls Sports, if you guys can, it would really help me out. Send me your film. It's kind of hard. Obviously, I have a good staple on it, obviously, with hoops and football. But if you have clips and stuff on Twitter and want me to look at it, definitely send that my way. Definitely would love to analyze a little bit of tape, whether that's, softball, volleyball, tennis, lacrosse, whatever it is. I was trying to search up some things before the show just to kind of have, a couple things to talk about, obviously with video and things like that, but it's tough to find really on Huddle. So if you guys have that and you have your Twitters and things like that, tag me. I'll definitely talk about it on the show. So I just wanted to point that out. But we'll keep rolling. We'll go to the freshman All-American team, which I think is really, really impressive because a couple girls on this list actually are All-Americans, and they're only freshmen, so they have very, very bright futures. And one of those is Keandra Acree. She's from Monroe out there in Albany, Georgia, 5'11", already pretty tall. And the cool thing is she's already a guard, so I don't even think she's done growing yet. Has a full boatload of potential, right? Average 24.1 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 4.2 steals, and 2.1 blocks. As they went 22-10, and they reached the semifinals as her freshman year. So special shout out to her. I think she's going to be one to watch. And she's a beast, man. I mean, around the rim, defending at a high level. As you see with the 2.1 blocks, I mean, she's a pest. I mean, she's a great all-around player. And, she is a high-end rebounder as well. And she draws a lot of double teams, but still able to finish and, be a beast, out there on the court. So I can't wait to see her growth, her being on this list. I believe she made first team. Definitely says a lot on what she's able to do. So can't wait to see how her game continues to progress as well. And then honorable mention was India Dennis of Creekside. She was named first team All-Metro by AJC. Averaged 24.5 points, 6.4 boards, 6.4 assists, and 4.5 steals per game as the Seminoles went 20-9, and they reached the second round of the 5A playoffs. So she's been doing her thing as well. Another freshman to watch for, Keandra McCree and C. India Dennis. Those are going to be ones to watch. Had impeccable seasons this past year. And as you guys know, Atlanta Tip-Off Club is actually going around to schools. I've seen them actually recognize a couple of players today. So just giving them the honor of making either first team or all-state or player of the year. So you guys definitely check that out as well. I thought that's pretty cool what they do and highlighting some of the best talent across Metro Atlanta. Last but not least, before we take our break, got to give a shout-out to former Bookwood great, led her team not this year but the year prior to their first ever state championship, and that's Diana Collins. She's officially announced her decision of where she's going to transfer to. You guys know she started at Ohio State, which is a really great program, but she appeared in 18 games for the program, averaging about 9 minutes per game, 3 points. I think it was an assist and a rebound. I think she's going to have a more defined role next year in the program that she chooses or has chosen. And I can't wait to see kind of her growth. When you think of Alabama, you don't really see them a lot far as, girls basketball, but that is where she has announced her next decision of where she's going to play is Alabama. So as you guys know, in high school, she was a prolific scorer, really good from deep, really good playmaker as well for her teammates, getting into certain spots on the floor, could, defend at a high level, was really good with down screens and things like that. She just checked off every box she needed at that position. So shout out to her. I seen this is actually close to about an hour ago where she made her decisions to transfer. And the cool thing is, too, her going to Tuscaloosa, that's closer to home as well. So her parents can come see her. And, I think that would be really interesting. Actually, Max, how close is Tuscaloosa from Georgia? Like, let's say Roswell. 3 hours. 3 hours. Yeah, so closer to home. only about probably 3 hours away. I know she went to Brookwood High School, so probably about 3.5. But that just works better. And then, closer to home, she can always just take a trip, a drive. Her parents can come see her. She can come see her parents. I think it's going to work out for her, and she'll be able to make some noise. And next year is going to be really intriguing to see, obviously, basketball, obviously the stars. There'll be new stars now, right, with Paige Bookers. We talked about it, Juju Watkins, obviously with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Camila Cardozo, all leaving. We'll have new crop of stars now. So I think that's really intriguing. So that's my thoughts. That's the latest on basketball. I'll keep you guys updated if I see anything as far as the spring circuit or summer circuit. I'll definitely talk about it here on the show. But we're going to take a quick short break, thank our sponsors, and be back on the other side.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, guys, welcome back. So we're going to talk about a sport that I cover here pretty well. I do the rankings for it. I try to stay in tune. If you guys don't know, I've done a couple articles on it so far in the spring. I talked about Roswell, Alatoona on the boys' side. But we're going to be talking about the most intriguing girls' first-round matchups that has a lot to do, kind of with, who's going to win it all. I mean, I think it's going to be really intriguing as well. I might reveal a little bit about my article. I think I'm going to tease a little bit, maybe like my top 2 contenders, in the sleeper, and then let you guys go see the rest on ScoreATL.com. But the top matchups, I got to go Woodstock versus Marist. Marist won 3 of their final 4 games to end the regular season, including a shutout of North Springs 22-0. The Lady War Eagles had quite a turnaround. They started the season off 0-4. They won 5 consecutive games after that to kind of climb back into the playoff race. Had a little bit of a skid there, 2-game skid, and then got back on track. But they actually beat Woodstock earlier this year, 13-12, back in February. So Marist will have the home field advantage in this one. They're pretty good at home. So I think it'll be an intriguing matchup, especially with it being a rematch between both teams and seeing who can come out on top. Woodstock was sub 500 this year, but as you guys know, it's all important how you do in your area and kind of your region. And if you do good there, you'll make the postseason. So they went 3-2 in the area, and they earned the 3 seed. And this year they've had some pretty good attacking, I would say, on that side of the ball. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see, can Marist slow down the kind of really potent attacking of Woodstock. This year they were led by Dakota Beasley. She had averaged 4 goals a game. She finished with 63 goals and 10 assists. So she was a problem on the attacking end all year. And then Madeline Madej. She leads them defensively with 39 ground balls this year, winning a lot of the matchups she had, the one-on-one matchups as well. So I think it's going to be very intriguing to see who comes out on top in this one. An intriguing matchup to kind of see who will go on to the second round. So those who kick off, I think they play tomorrow, and it also will be a rematch. So it will be a really good one. Next one, I got to go Ola versus Cambridge. What's impressed me about Cambridge is that they've played some of the top competition very, very well. They lost 7-6 in overtime, I think, to West Forsyth, and then they lost 11-9 to Milton. And in my opinion, all year long, they've given Milton the toughest test, just as far as in-state. Obviously, Milton plays an out-of-state schedule, plays some of the top opponents, but they've given them the best kind of test so far this year, in my opinion. But they matched up well, and in those games against West Forsyth, obviously, in Milton, they lost by a combined 3 goals. So that goes to show you how good they are, how complete of a team, and they went 13-4, and they won 4 of their last 5 games entering the postseason. So that's what you want to kind of see, going on a stretch, winning your last couple of games, and kind of getting that momentum going in. And their offensive production has been steady all season long, and I think they are a battle-tested team going through that tough region area of theirs and playing some top teams like Milton. And then for Ola, I think they're coming off one of their best seasons, 12-4. They've been very successful. They lost 3 of their final 4 games, so not kind of what you want to see in terms of momentum and building. But they got some really great players. Delaney Gosart averaging 3.7 goals per game. Ansley Harvey is averaging 2.3 goals per game. Gosart has 59 goals and 27 assists. And Harvey has 37 goals and 12 assists so far this year. And then Mallory Henderson leads them with 54 ground balls so far this year defensively. So it is going to be interesting. I will give the edge to Cambridge. I like Ola, I like what they can do, but I think Cambridge is a little bit more balance tested with his opponents and teams they've matched up against, and they've went toe-to-toe with some of the best ones in the state. The next matchup, got to go Chattahoochee versus Northgate. It's interesting because for me, Chattahoochee had such a great start to the season. They were 3-0, and then at one point they were 5-2 in the season. They kind of tapered off a little bit, going 4-5 in their final 9 games. But I want to see, can they rebound in time? Like, can they find some of that magic they had earlier in the year? And they're looking to reach double-digit wins for the first time since 2021, 2022. So tough stretch to end the year, but can you kind of come back and be able to show a little bit of resolve? So they were high in the poll to start the season for me, and then they kind of tapered off a little bit. We see it a lot sometimes in football and basketball. Team starts hot and then kind of hits their ceiling and then kind of falls down. So I want to see, they made the postseason. Can they give Northgate a run for their money? And Northgate has looked good all year. They've been top 5 pretty much in my rankings, I think, since like week 7, week 8. They're 16-2 this year, and they have some really good goal scorers as well. And attacking with Maggie Buckley, she's averaging 3.8 goals per game, and Elsa Pratt is averaging 2.3 goals per game. So they're doing a really good job there scoring, and they have not had a lot of problems or challenges this year. Let's see, their only 2 losses were to Campbell, who was pretty good to start the year, right about around the time when he played them. And then their most recent loss was to Decatur a few weeks ago, 12-6. But other than that, they've been stout pretty much all year, have been winning by a large margin. And then those ones that I mentioned, Buckley's only a sophomore, so that is really good for them. Obviously, this is a team that has a lot of seniors, but Buckley only being a sophomore, leading them in scoring with 65 goals this year. And then Platt, she has 39 goals and 21 assists. So kind of the overall kind of playmaker for them so far this year. And then they have 5 girls with 15 or more goals this year. That includes McElwainey. She has 20. Smith, she has 19. And then Bound, she has 17. So they got a whole bunch of different playmakers at the midfield, at the attacking end that can put pressure on the defense as well. And then Annalise Kolvig, she's their best defender, 41 calls turnovers this year. So she is a problem, and she is very, very difficult to get past when you're attacking the Northgate defense. So I think it's going to be interesting, but I think Northgate and their offense, when you have 5 different scorers in there that can cause pressure on the defense, make it tough for you, and then you got a girl in Annalise Kolvig who can kind of create pressure and cause those turnovers. I think Northgate wins this one. Really, really talented and really deep team, so I got them with the edge. And then the next matchup, got to go Kell versus North Forsyth. Kell had a really blistering start to start the year, 7-0. Had put me on notice. They've been ranked in the score Atlanta poll throughout the season. Didn't have the best finish to the season, losing 4 of their final 6 games, but still a lot of upside there, a lot of meat on the bone. If they can kind of find their groove again, I think they can kind of be potent. They will be on the road for most of the playoffs unless an upset occurs. And the thing to watch for is their defense. If they can get enough stops, because their offense can score at high-end levels, but can they get enough stops defensively, I think will be the true test. And then Kell is going to actually face against North Forsyth, as we said before. North Forsyth finished the season with a 9-7 record. 3 consecutive wins after being 6-7. They kind of punched their ticket. And the thing to note is they're really, really good at home. They are 4-2 when they've hosted compared to 4-5 on the road. So they like that kind of being at home, playing in front of the crowd. They play really, really well. So that is something to note in this game. I'm still going to roll with Kell to come out on top, but I think it'll be an interesting game between those teams and how they go back and forth. All right, next one. You got North Coney versus Trinity Christian. It's his last major matchup. North Coney, kind of tough stretch to end the season as well, losing 2 of their final 3 games. But overall, really good record. Finished second in the area. 11-4 this year, at the top of the poll most of the year. And then Trinity Christian went on a 5-game winning streak after starting 2-2, hit double-figure goals in each game during that span, and they hit 20 goals against Holly Anderson's in a 2012 win. So they're 7-2. Haven't played a lot of games, but in those games, they have looked very, very good. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of, you have Norfolk Coney, who has played nearly double the amount of games that Trinity Christian has. So will that kind of affect, maybe, different parts of the game, like with them not having so much experience of the games compared to Norfolk Coney, who's could be a little bit rested, So I think it's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top in that one. All right, couple more news. We have on the lacrosse end, Mountain View actually won their area title, the first ever area title in their program history. So they ended up finishing 12-5 or 13-5, I should say, and they won their area title 15-6 over Brookwood. In that one, Phoenix Wynn had 4 goals, and her teammate Amina Plummer, she had 3 goals and 4 ground balls in that one. They also got contributions from Aria Moon and Bailey Donnelly. She had 2 goals and assists each between that pair. So shout out to them, big time win for them. And before we continue, I'll go and give you guys a quick teaser of who are my top contenders. I'm just going to do 2 top contenders and 1 sleeper, and I'll let you guys go on SquareTail for the full list. So obviously I got Milton as a top contender. I mean, I just feel like they're, again, I always say it on the show, but they're the class of GHSA girls lacrosse. I mean, they are. They've won 16 titles of the 18, right? I think 1 year wasn't played because of COVID, but they have consistently won their competition. We have a Hall of Fame coach in Tim Godby. We had him on the show before. But I'm interested to see, will they be a challenger this year? Obviously Milton had a different team this year, probably not as loaded as in years past. A lot of youth, a lot of young players, a lot being kind of thrown into new roles, So they still had a pretty good record. Still went 14-4. All their losses were out of state. And that was to Our Lady of Good Counsel, Cardinal Gibbons, NC, and then St. Stephen and St. Agnes in Virginia. So what Coach Godby is going to do is he's always going to have his group loaded. He's always going to have his group ready to go. And he does that by the scheduling. And scheduling is very important. We've seen why teams like Cedar Grove, in comparison to football, why they've been able to win it all. Trying to think of another team. Teams like Walton have been really good also in football, just how tough of a schedule they make for themselves. And sometimes you'd be like, well, why would they schedule so tough? And sometimes they take their lumps early in the season. But for me, it's like I'd rather take my lumps, learn from it, and then be better on it, be more prepared coming to playoffs so I can compete and contend for a title. I think those things are all important. So that's why I got Milton as number 1. I think until somebody knocks them off or shows me something different, got to keep them at number 1. And then number 2 is Blessed Trinity. They've been so great all year. And special shout out to them. They had a very impressive win, 18-10, beating Fellowship Christian. And you can make the argument they should be number 1 in 5A, 6A, or just they should be number 1 on this list as far as a contender because what they've been able to do. And they are actually the second most accomplished program in state history. And what they've been able to do. They are in there year in, year out, competing, contending for titles, and they're going for more. They are looking to become the first or have their first 4-peat in program history. So they already won 3 straight. They're looking for a 4-peat this year. So I had to put them as a top contender year in, year out, just what they're able to do, what they're able to accomplish. And then last but not least, one of my sleepers, obviously we talked about some of them, but I'm going to go Mountain View. So I just talked about them winning their first ever area championship, 15-6 against Brookwood about a week ago. But I like what they've been able to do. They led by their attacker Amina Plummer. She's averaging 2.5 goals per game, and Bailey Donnelly, who's averaging 2.2. And we just talked about their performance in that vital and critical championship game and what they were able to do. So can't wait to see what they do. They were on a nice win streak. They had won 8 of their final 9 games. Their only loss coming to a cross-classification game against Greater Atlanta Christian. But other than that, they have been top of the top. So want to see how they look in the postseason. So again, guys, go to SquareTL for the full list of that. And then last but not least on lacrosse, shout out to Mia Patrick. She breaks school record with 51 calls turnovers That previous mark was 46. So shout out to her for breaking her school record for calls turnovers this past season, breaking the previous mark of 46. All right, so I know Craig talked about gymnastics on his show on Monday. I'm just going to recap real quick this Chambly and what they did on the Cab side. So Chambly wins third county gymnastics title in 4 years. Sarah Wolf and Samantha Yarbo finished 1 and 2 in the all-around, respectively, to lead Chambly to the third DeKalb County championship in 4 years. Wolf, she's a senior. She returned to competition at county championships this year after missing 2023 to take first place in bars, 8.150, floor, 9.050, and all-around, 34.9502. Run her county championships gold medal haul to 9 in 3 years of competition. That's very impressive. So 9 gold in 3 years, and she also has 3 silvers, including all-around as a freshman, and 1 bronze. Yarborough captured the gold in the vault, 9.250, while finishing 4th in the floor, 5th in bars, and in the beam, on the way to silver and all-around behind Wolf. And then Dunwoody's last year county champion finished as a runner-up this year with a score of 90.250, led by Tabitha Johnson's third place finish in all-around, 30.900. Johnson finished tied for bronze in the vault, 8.700, was third in the floor with 8.250, and 4th on the bars as well. And then Kirsten Lewis, she fueled Lakeside's third place finish in team standings at 87.050 with her 4th place finish in the all-around with a 27.350 score. Lily Lewis aided the Vikings cause with the silver medal and 8.1000 in the bars. So special shout out to them. That's who performed there. And they won their third county championship in gymnastics. So that's what we got on that realm as well. And then we'll switch real quick. We'll go to tennis. All right, so we'll take a quick look at tennis. So the Lady Vikings Lakeside, they swept Lee County 3-0 in the Class 6A tennis playoffs. So after a 3-0 sweep, they're going to be heading to the Sweet 16, which is actually today. Lakeside is 14-1. They jumped up to a 1-0 lead in the best of 3 sets. And Rowan Scronch brought the Lady Vikings the first point of the match. She ended up winning her series 6-0, 6-1 at number 1 singles against Lee County's Allison Willis. And you had Joanna Gobel pull out the Lakeside within 1 victory of taking the match, cruise to a 6-0, 6-0 victory over Lee County's Ivy Taylor at number 2 in singles. And then Nora Grady clinched the match for Lakeside as she broke Lee County's Hayden Banner's serve in the final game with a 6-0, 6-1 win at number 3 singles. And then Juliana Scalzini and Jordan Beer had a 1-0 set and led number 1 in doubles over Lee County's Taylor Edwards and Kavya Patel when Grady clinched the win. So special shout out to them. Lakeside is going to go on to face Woodward Academy today, who was a 5-0 winner versus Effingham County in the first round. Obviously the date and time will be announced a little bit later. And there's like other 6A playoff action. Dunwoody picked up 3-0 road victory as well in opening round. They're 11-8 this season, and they ended up beating Tiff County to advance to the Sweet 16 as well. So special shout out to them. That is the latest in tennis on that side. And then also got to give a shout out to Howard High School. Their girls also advanced to the Sweet 16. They had a win over Islands High School. That was about close to a week ago. But in tennis, their scores, Elle Rogers, she won her set 6-1, 6-4. Elle Harper won her set 6-2, lost 6-7, and then won 6-4. And then E. Spinelli, she lost 4-6, but won the final 3 sets 6-4, 7-6, 10-8. So special shout out to them for advancing to the next round. So that is tennis. And we got one more before we take our break. Our final one for the show. Westminster girls defeated Lovett 3-0 to advance to the quarterfinals. And kind of the rivalry between those two private school programs, they've been doing their thing. So the boys and the girls for Westminster actually advanced on to the next round. So special shout out to them for what they were able to do and accomplish this year. All right, guys, so we're going to take a quick short break, thank our sponsors, be back on the other side for the wrap-up.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, does it matter if this leaks?
It don't matter to me, can't see it from my house.
Illegal use of hands, improper training.
GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com has 14 different highly skilled trades with tuition-free training in our certified apprenticeship programs to train you the right way. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. So to close out the show, we'll start with obviously my top 5 presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. So at number 1, Max had a great story on it. Again, advise you to go to scoretl.com. But Tim Slater, what he was able to do, I tried to get him on the show today. I did reach out. Unfortunately, he is actually going to the Braves game. They play tonight against the Marlins at 7:20. So he will be there. But I did try to bring him on. But they did some great things. Won a state championship. They ended up playing in the Chipotle Nationals with his group. Had a really talented roster, obviously, but he did an impeccable job with them this past year. They finished number 6 in the MaxPreps Top 25, and for his efforts, they named him National Coach of the Year. As he prepared for a ceremony honoring the team's title, third-year Rams coach said he's been able to take a few weeks and reflect back on how special the season was. Just per MaxPreps, he says, per quote, "I think it's a testament to the parents, the community, and our administration." Slater said, "I always give them flowers and grace. The kids wanted to be great, and they put me in my staff in position to help them. They've always believed in the vision. This might be my individual accolade, but it's because of my staff, because of the players." Obviously for Slater, won a state title at Lanier in 2019, and in the past 2 seasons has led Grayson to 20 wins, and that has been the foundation. Says per quote, "But it all boils down to the girls," he said. "There's a special group of kids from 1 to 11 who wanted to do it the right way." The Rams were led by MaxPreps All-American Danielle Carnegie, but Slater said everyone had a singular vision to pursue greatness. He says you look at someone like Malaya Jones, he said she was the county player of the year and had all these individual accomplishments, and said I've done all this individual staff and I wanted to do what it takes to win. She sacrificed her stats in order to win. Players like Aaron Rodgers, who was out last season with injury, and Tatum Brown did the same. To have kids who are great individually and have them sacrifice in a society that constantly tells them to get theirs is the primary reason why we were 32-0, won a state title, and got to Indianapolis to play in that Chipotle Nationals, Slater said. So, great season for them. Obviously won it all in 7A. He gets an incredible, esteemed honor from MaxPreps winning the Coach of the Year. So special shout out to him. Incredible season. Great players, and as he said, it's not just one person. It's a full staff. Players have to buy in. Coaching staff has to buy in. And they were able to go compete in one of the best tournaments. Obviously, that and the Throne National Tournament, one of the best ones, obviously, in the country. So special shout out to him. And go to scoretl.com to get the full analysis on that. All right, we'll go to number 2. So number 2, so you got cheer tryouts. Started yesterday. Going to go to, looks like, April 25th. This is from Rutland Athletics. So they had the tweet. They're having their cheerleading tryouts. Also, dance teams have also been announced recently as well. So that is what's been going on for 2024, 2025. And then, as you guys know, volleyball trials are going on, and softball trials are going on currently right now as well. So, as you guys know, slow pitch officially wrapped up this past week. So now we're going to have tryouts for fast pitch and then trials for volleyball and all that good stuff. So can't wait to see it. We'll be seeing some new teams now, some new players as well. And I believe freshman trials are starting to happen as well for girls sports all across the state as well. So a couple quick updates as well before going to number 3. Stars Mill, they advanced to the Elite 8. They just defeated Wayne County to advance to the Elite 8 in tennis. So special shout out to them for advancing and moving on. So that's a quick update on the tennis world as well. So special shout out there. And then I'll give another one to Madison Hanchey. She's committed to Columbus State University for softball. She's being honored tonight for her signing day. So special shout out to her and what she accomplished in her Jefferson Dragon career and what she has been able to do. And then one more quick update. DeKalb County got some major schools having soccer games this weekend in the state playoffs. 6 DeKalb soccer teams open second round. Those teams include the Tucker Lady Tigers. They open against Northside at 6 p.m. at Adams Stadium. They knocked off Statesboro 2-1 behind 2 goals by Gabby Cole. And then number 10 ranked Chamblee, the defending Class 5A champion. They're going to host number 6 ranked McIntosh in a 6:30 p.m. game at North DeKalb Stadium. Chamblee advanced to the Sweet 16 with a 10-0 victory over Coffee last week as well. So that is on the girls' side, who will be advancing on to the next round. All right, number 3, she won Athlete of the Week. These tweets are pulling up. That is Lacey Sherholtz. She won Athlete of the Week based off of her great performance in the last 2 weeks. I've seen Craig smiling there. I think she had, I believe it was 9 goals in the past 2 games, I believe. But she's been doing her thing, so special shout out to her, playing, her best ball at the right time. Obviously, you guys know it is playoff time. So she has been magnificent the last few weeks and what she's been able to do and accomplish. So shout out to her and what she's been, doing here recently. She's been balling. So I wanted to give a shout out on the top 5. All right, number 4. See if this one will pull up. Okay, here we go. So, as you guys know, I like to always celebrate just the sport, girls sports all across the country. So sometimes it has to do with, just outside of high school sports. But I want to give a shout out to Nelly Corda. She tied the LPGA record with her 5th straight tournament win. She's been magnificent. So the 25-year-old American pro golfer, Nelly Corda, she secured her spot in LPGA history this past Sunday, winning the 5th straight title. She's ranked number 1 in the world by Rolex Women's Girls Golf Rankings. She joins Nancy Lopez, 1978, and Anika Sortem, 2005, as just the 3rd LPGA Tour player to rack up 5 consecutive tour wins. She's also 3rd number 1 ranked player to capture the Chevron Championship victory since the rankings debuted in 2006. She is accompanied by Lorena Ochoa and Lydia Ko as well. So the Florida native shot 3 under, 69 in Sunday's final, beating Sweden's Maja Stark. Despite Stark's valiant come from behind attempt in the 18th on the green, Corda finished with a 4-day total of 13 under, 275, celebrating her 2-stroke win by cannonballing into Popey's Pond, much to the crowd's delight. She left the club at Carlton Woods with $1.2 million from an overall purse of $7.9. So that's impressive. It wasn't long ago that the 2-time major champion current winning streak seemed unimaginable. After maintaining her number 1 position for 29 weeks, Corda underwent surgery to remove a blood clot from her left arm in 2022. She returned to the course not long after, but failed to win a single tournament in 2023 before seeing a surge in her performance during the first 4 months of 2024. As of today, she hasn't lost a tournament since January. So shout out to her. Great comeback story, being able to get out there and being able to perform at a high level as well, winning 5 straight, setting history in LPGA, and walking away with a purse of $1.2 million. That is very impressive. So shout out to her. And the final headline, and obviously you guys can go to justwomensports.com. They do a great job of just national news all across the world. Let's see, it's one more. LSU Gymnastics. They won their first ever title this past weekend as well. Let's see. I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. Nothing wants to load. All right, so here we go. So LSU came on top. at the 2024 NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championship in Fort Worth on Saturday, beating Cal, Utah, and Florida to capture its first ever national title. The win was far from a landslide. LSU took the first rotation handily thanks to a 2024 all-around winner, Haley Bryant, leading the team with 9.9375, backed by 4 additional 9.9 plus scores from her teammates. But Utah then responded with 3 strong beam performances of their own, causing the Red Rocks to slide confidently into second place by the end of the second rotation. By the halfway point, all 4 teams fell within 2.88 points of one another before Utah overtook the pack with a dominant floor showing after 3 rotations. LSU then went on to ace the beam event with Connor McLean's meet-leading 9.9625 score, coming away with the highest collective score ever awarded in the event in NCAA championship history. The achievement propelled the Tigers to victory, ensuring them the title after the final rotation. Per quote from the LSU coach, Jay Clark, he said, "This team is full of individuals that have incredible character and integrity and love for each other, and all things you hear from coaches and why they sit at the podium like this in a moment of victory. But I promise you, it's a real thing." He said, "I'm just so happy for them," after the press conference was over. So, special shout out to them. LSU winning their first ever gymnastics championship. As you guys know, girls sports is on the rise. Obviously, you had the draft last week, and you have more news. You're going to have track and field. Obviously, that's hot in the summer. And also, guys, an important note as well. The Olympics are right around the corner. I know that's not being talked about a lot, but the Olympics will be here. Obviously, you're going to have so many different sports, girls sports, guys sports. So I had the full coverage on that as well, talking about some of that. And what's another interesting thing about that? Caitlin Clark, it looks like she's going to have a tryout for the Olympic team potentially. So it'll be interesting to see if she makes the team. Will probably be a great experience for her. You know, her going into her first season with obviously the Indiana Fever and all the kind of buzz around her. So that will be interesting to see as well. But yes, the Olympics are really, really close. Not too far off. Will be this summer. So check that out. A great month of events. But that's all I got for today's show. Thank you guys for tuning in.
New Hampstead.
And Craig will have New Hampstead's head coach tomorrow, so stay tuned for that drive for the GSSA state title tomorrow at noon. He will be talking to their head coach. That's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys later. Peace.